In this video, I will show you how to do easy statistics in Excel. First, go to the class web page and go to the data folder. Find the file called fitbit.xlsx. Click and open it in Excel or a similar spreadsheet. I'll slide that over, make it bigger. And what we're looking at is a sequence of dates starting from May 17th and the number of miles that my wife walked according to her Fitbit. So you can see 2.5 miles, 8.1 miles the next day, and it goes all the way to June 26th. Unfortunately, that night the band broke and we were not able to get any more data. Notice that the column A contains the dates, column B contains the miles, and the rows that contain the data go from row 2 through row 42. The first row is just headers. Let's get the basic statistics using Excel. First of all, the sample size. Well, since we know there were 42 rows, one of them was a header, we know the sample size should be 41, but just to be sure, let's do it in Excel. Go to a cell and type equals count parentheses B2 colon B42. And it says there were 41 numbers in that list. We went from column B, row 2, down to column B, row 42. 41 is our sample size. Now we're going to find the total by doing equals sum parentheses B2 colon B42. And it says that she walked a total of 252.1 miles in those 41 days. In fact, to get the mean, what we should do is divide those last two numbers. I can do equals. Notice that the total was in cell E3. E3 was the total. And I can divide that by E2, which was the sample size. And that says she walked an average of 6.15 miles per day. Excel has a built-in command to get the mean, what they call the average, by doing equals average parentheses B2 colon B42, and we get the same answer. Now, to get the median, since the numbers aren't in sorted order, it would be hard to do it by looking, but we can use the built-in command equals MEDIN parentheses B2 colon B42, and it says the median is 5.8 miles. Same thing for the mode, equals mode parentheses B2 to 42, the mode 2.5 miles, the minimum, by now you know what's going on. MIN for minimum, and we'll do the same thing for the maximum. MAX is the command for the maximum, and you get 12.8. Now for the range, I don't think there's a built-in command, but we can do some easy subtraction. Equals the maximum, which was an E8, minus the minimum, which was an E7. And so the range is the difference, 12.1 miles. Now I want to do something to show you a little more information about these answers by sorting these two columns so that they go in sorted order from lowest to highest in terms of miles. To sort the data in Excel, you highlight the columns you're interested in, and then you can find in the menu some kind of a sorting routine. I'm going to sort by column B, and you can see now instead of being sorted by date, the data is sorted by miles. It goes from a low of 0.7 up to a high of 12.8. By the way, these low numbers were when it was raining or maybe somebody was sick and we didn't get out of the house very much those days. So now, let's go back and reinvestigate some of these numbers. We still have 41 numbers and nothing's happened with these statistics. But we can more easily see why 5.8 was the median. So remember, we had 41 numbers. And just down here, let me just diagram for you those 41 numbers. We could say, well, we could split them into 20 small numbers, one number in the middle, and then 20 big numbers to make our 41. So this is telling me that the median, the one in the middle, is going to be the 21st number in the list. So I can go down here. Now you might think I'm going to look for row 21, but don't forget the header. So what I really need to do is look for row 22, which is 5.8. So row 22, because of the header, is the 21st number in the list, and you can see 5.8 really is the median. What about the mode? The mode is the number that occurs most often. And if you remember, Excel used to say the mode was 2.5. Now it says it's 0.7. The reason is Excel will only return one mode if there are many of them. For example, here we have 2 0.7s, 2 1.3s, 2 2.5s, 2 3.4s. There are a lot of modes. Excel will only return the first one that it finds, and since we sorted them now, the first one it sees is this 0.7. So it's saying the mode is 0.7. But in fact, there were really several modes. What if this 5.3 right here had been another 5.2? If I changed that 5.3 to a 5.2, you can see that Excel will now say 5.2 is the unique mode. While I'm on the subject of changing numbers, notice that these numbers here will change whenever the input data changes. So suppose that this 3.9 was a typo. It should have been 9.3. I can edit that, change it back to a 9.3, and if you'll notice, these numbers changed, or at least some of them changed. For example, the median went from 6.15 up to 6.28. By the way, in Excel, if you hit Control-Z, it will undo the last operation. If I hit Control-Z, it's back to 3.9 and 6.15 for the mean. One more thing I want to show you, and that is we were in Europe when we did a lot of this walking, and in Europe they like to use kilometers. It's very easy in Excel to convert scale, so I can make a column for kilometers, and all I have to do is multiply the number of miles times a scaling constant. That number happens to be 1.61, which you could always look up. So I'm going to say equals B2, the number of miles, times 1.61, tells me that's a little more than 1 kilometer. I want that formula to go through every day in the data set. The easy way to do that is to highlight the cell you've already done the formula for and double click on the little box in the lower right hand corner. See that little square there? I'll just double click on it and it will fill the same formula down all the way. So for example, this day, May 18th, we walked 8.1 miles. That was a little more than 13 kilometers. That's about all there is to it. If you would like to, you could change these cells to use kilometers instead of miles, but I think you get the basic idea. Please experiment in Excel and let me know if you have any questions.